Hey, what's up guys? Toogie here, back again with another episode of my Draft to Glory series with the Arizona Cardinals here on Madden NFL 19. You know what the series is at this point. In this episode, we go through the 2025 draft, and I will say, well, some people are of the opinion that things aren't going all that well. I do have to say I think things are looking pretty okay for us, all things considered. The team is starting to take shape. Yeah, we've had some players not develop, but I mean, we do have a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback at the helm. The running back situation isn't amazing. We lack an elite running back. We lack an elite wide receiver. But when you factor in what this draft could be for us, especially too with this first pick, we're going to be getting some much needed offensive line help. It's not looking that bad. The secondary is pretty damn good still with Meyer, Cole, Griffith developing, and of course AJ Ross had a really strong rookie season. I don't know. I think we're in a pretty good spot. We'll see whether or not that is the general consensus by the end of this episode. That said, with the 4th overall pick, it was pretty straightforward. We were going to be taking either Ramsey or Mack. You guys voted. Quayshawn Ramsey out of Clemson will be the number 1 selection for us in this draft. Number 4 overall, of course. So Ramsey is the pick. Ramsey is a bit of a beast. Now, here's the thing. Only 17th in true talents. There are some very good players in this draft, but I don't regret this pick at all, and I think you guys made the right choice. Hindsight might prove differently, but an 80 overall at 21 years old with quick development already, I'm fine with that. That is some much needed help to the O-line. 87 strength by default. Ramsey, welcome to the team, and again, time will tell whether or not that was the right pick. There might have been a better member on the O-line that was worth taking, but overall I'm okay with that. And you gotta figure there's gonna be a bunch of just straight 80 overalls that matched him. In the second round, though, is where things could start to get interesting. At quarterback, James Cain did fall, but obviously we're not gonna be concerned. Running back-wise, nobody who was projected to go in the first round managed to fall, unfortunately. Wide receiver-wise, nobody fell down the rankings either. Normally, of course, I set up the draft board. I didn't this time out. Didn't think it would be that big of an issue. Tight end-wise, Nicholas Heck is a great name. He and Tyrone Hill, but we're not going to go for a tight end unless there's, unless there's very few other options. The O-line, though, we do have Shaden Culliver, and Christian Scheffler, who could be options. Did anybody fall down, though, from the first round? CJ Landeta also available, and Quantavius Gleers. Amazing names, but nobody fell from the first round. Crosby Peppers is there. Who else do we have available to us? Defensive tackles looking rough. Blair Larson might not be that bad. Early second round projected. We could use an upgrade there. Josh Burris. Wow, nobody who was projected to go in the first round managed to fall. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. So when I look at what we need the most, again, you could argue a running back. I don't think Sayers or Bond, I don't think either of them will be better than who we already have in terms of a 79 and an 81 overall. I believe that they were for Hughes and Reynaud. Sayers as a receiving back, great agility, but yeah, again, I don't think he's the guy for us. And Bond is a power back actually. Pretty good 40 time. Really good bench time. Franklin Bond might be an interesting pick here. He might be a really interesting pick here. The agility's not too crazy, but he's 21. Not that I want to have drafted 3 running backs already, but he could be worth it. I say could be because there's no real guarantee. Of course, we're not going to take a fullback at this point. Wes Gerberry. The Gerberry. He is, for a deep threat, you'd like him to be faster, you'd like the vert jump to be a little bit better, and you'd like him to be taller, so no thanks. I am going to look at third round projected because, of course, the AI loves to take people early off the board. Morris Sams is, he's not that bad. Unfortunately, though, unless it's someone who's like, yeah, that guy could be a number 1 for us, there's not really worth taking at this point. Obviously, we're not going to find that level of talent more than likely. Still worth looking. Tyler Price, for example, he has the height, but then the vert jump is a bit too low. That's a little bit frustrating. So the O-line is more than likely where we will go here. Nicholas Heck, not that great. And Tyrone Hill, decent bench, but not that great. So we will hope to find a replacement here. You got to figure now with Ramsey here. We have Schuleter, Ramsey, Ramirez. It's just, you know, between guys like Ofenheusle, Price, Kropog, we still need somebody else. So we look here with Culliver, who isn't that bad. The bench is solid. The top skills are solid, but he is 23. He's not going to get that much better. And Scheffler, the bench is extremely low. Oh, I don't want to say extremely low, but the bench is pretty low. He is agile first. You know, we're an agility type. And, I mean, he is first in terms of the three-cone and the shuttle. I don't know if either of those two will be better than who we have already, though. Carter is a no for me. And Sandige. Sandige. Hell of a name. Probably not that great, though. I mean, Culliver and Scheffler might still be worth picking here. At center, Riley Everett. For the hell of it, you spell Everett very awkwardly. Combine's pretty good. Combine's pretty good. We could move him away from center if we needed. What about Landeta? Pass protector, the bench is a little bit low for me, even though the top skills are all right. Steeples is fairly well-rounded. 21 years old. Agile type. All right, Steeples might be worth it. Steeples might be worth it. If we add him to the board here really quickly, between Steeples, Culliver, and Scheffler, I feel like we might have something here. Landeta wasn't that bad, but again, the bench was a bit low. And actually, for right tackle here, who else do we have? Gleers is, again, well-rounded. I like the fact that he's 21. The top skills are solid. He might be worth it. It's really tough to say for sure, though. We'll take a look at Crosby Peppers here as well. And again, fairly well-rounded. No way to know if he's going to be anything special. Nielsen definitely won't be. And Kemp probably won't be. I mean, with the lack of agility there, he'd probably be better as a tackle as opposed to an end. But and right end-wise, nobody there. Defensive tackle, there was one. Conley. Absolutely not. Then linebacker-wise, Blair Larson, who might be worth it. Right now on the outside, we have Nolan. So technically it would be worth bringing in another linebacker. So Nolan might not be a bad shout. There's also Josh Burris. The 40 time, he's 24 as well. I love the letter grades, right? I love the letter grades. But I don't know if he's worth it, especially too because he's 24. I don't think he's going to get that much better. Then there's someone like Asher Hurst. That's a no. Paul Jordan. It's not too bad. I don't think he'll be anything special, but he could be half decent. There are a lot of third-round projected guys here. Derek Byam, Lane Leary, love the alliteration. Deontay Slaughter, probably not. And then, of course, we get into the secondary, where we know we're already good. So it comes down to either, I'd say, a linebacker or some offensive line help. And normally I'd say, well, we have offensive line help already. There's more players available heading into the next round that might be there, but we desperately need that help now on the offensive line. So one more look here. Culliver is 23. The grades aren't that bad. The agility's pretty poor, though. Scheffler is 22. Bench press is low, but very agile and well-rounded in that regard. And then Steeples, the most well-rounded of the three, projected for the third round. I think I'd prefer to take Steeples here. I want to so risk taking Blair Larson because I feel like he could improve. I think we got to risk it. I'm going to try to get Blair Larson and then hope to God Steeples is still available in the third round when he should be. Let's try it. Blair, please be worth it. Yeah, Blair, you fucked me. You fucked me, buddy. You really screwed me. You get us some linebacker depth, which is nice, but he's not any better than Nolan. 62nd in true talent, we get him at 36. 22 years old to 75 with normal development. I mean, he's probably never going to reach an 80 overall, and that could be a massive, massive mistake, especially when Derek Byham was better, a 77, which, I don't know, based off the combine, I don't really feel like that, it's more of a hindsight thing. Oh my God. Did I just botch it again? I think I did. I think I did. Shit. Every time I try to get perfect like that and don't take somebody, it backfires. Every time. And one of these days I'll learn my lesson. Unfortunately, today was not that day. And I don't think Landeta is going to be that great. Not only do I take a linebacker when there was apparently a better one on the board, but the offensive lineman I was looking at is gone. I'm going to have to go for Landeta, even though I don't think he's going to be that great. He is a 75 star development at 23. So there might be a little bit of redemption there with Landeta. But, again, on the bright side, we do add depth where we need it. But if that offensive lineman in particular is great, that I missed out on, that I was going to pick, that's a massive, massive mistake on my part. And there's a really good chance that that it is indeed that massive of a mistake. As far as the running backs are concerned, I think we're going to avoid. Frederick Chung is still available as a fullback. He's 24, though he's not going to get any better, so I'm going to ignore him. Wide receiver-wise, again, I wasn't really all that impressed with any of these guys. We will look at the 4th round, of course, but decent speed there, but again, just the vert's way too low for him to actually be a deep threat. Same thing with Price. What about, what the hell would that even be? CUNY Owens, I guess? I mean, again, as a deep threat, I disagree because it's just going to get picked. He's not going to be able to outjump a safety. In the 5th round, Rasby, absolutely not. I know he's a red, well, doesn't have the speed, but he's 6'2", solid jump. He might be a decent tight end option. Martin Gibson out of Baylor. Again, 5'11", no, I'm not digging that. And Derek Jimenez is, whole lot of average, isn't he? Tight end-wise, not feeling it with anybody there. Sandige, who again has the really good bench press total. I should look at the 5th round, I suppose. What about this guy here? As a pass protector, I don't know if I trust you on that. You might not be a bad pickup, but just that the bench press is so low. The agility's not bad, but I don't know if I trust that. And then Francis, no. Left guard, we have nobody. Center, Darren Brandt, fairly well-rounded. Could be worth it. And at right tackle, we have Zach Flemings at a Maine. I don't think I trust the bench press there either. Roy Garrett out of Florida A&M. I definitely don't trust that. Kent Yates. Absolutely not. Yeah, I'm not digging it. What else do we have here? Right end, Brian Flynn, who might not be that bad. He's not going to improve by that much, but he could be worth taking later on. And Lane Leary, still there. I can see why. What about Slaughter? Yeah, I can see why you're both still there. I think, for the most part, we have a couple of targets here, and the best one might be Sandige, just because of the power game. So, that's what we need the most. Let's take Ben Sandige out of North Carolina. He is a 73. And I talked about, at the beginning of this episode, this draft might be something that really turns it around for us. This is going to go down as one of our most meh drafts of this entire series as it stands, unfortunately. Unless we can really make something happen here. And that other guy, Kiefer Polish, not great either. Everyone I was looking at, too, is off the board, unfortunately. So who's it going to be here in the 5th round? That's the real question. I don't know if either of these fullbacks are worth taking, to be honest. He's 21, he's 23. That's really good blocking, though. Might look to take a fullback in a later round. I'm going to add them both to the board for now. And none of these wideouts were looking good to me, unfortunately. With the exception of, was it Owens? It wasn't. Was it Gibson? It wasn't Gibson. So the wideout I was looking at, I pinned that player and he's gone, unfortunately. Who could have been a tight end threat. Speaking of tight ends, Nick Hudson. He's 23. Vertical threat. No, you're not. Mike Winslow. Vertical threat. You're more of a vertical threat, but I don't really trust the grades. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen for us. Joseph Francis, not going to happen. Yeah, this is, oh, man, I think had we just made the proper pick in the second round, there would at least be a better feeling about how this draft has gone. But I can't help but have the feeling of it's an extreme disappointment and botched. Like this was a botched draft, unfortunately. It doesn't look like it's the deepest draft to begin with, but yeah, we needed better than this. And unfortunately, that hasn't happened. And unfortunately for me, the rest of the picks in this draft are hoping for the best outside of the two fullbacks. So that's good, I suppose. You're 21, well-rounded, and then he has the A- in league blocking, but he's 23. I'm going to take Franklin McAdley for the hell of it. And Jesus Christ, he's worse. He's going to get cut immediately. He is worse than our current fullback by a very large margin. I don't know who the hell we're going to take in these final two rounds. But what? Just what a horrible draft for us. Absolutely horrible. Again, I have the excuse of it doesn't look like the best draft to begin with, but still, brutal draft. There is this punter here, Ryan Velez, who's projected to go in the 4th round. He might be able to replace Bruce Tootin, or not. He will probably be immediately cut, but we'll bring him back in. And then in the 7th round, oh boy, we need to hope that at least everybody else kind of screwed up too, in terms of, yeah, there wasn't anybody great. Might just take Derek Jimenez here. As a deep threat, you're not even that fast, though. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Joey Morrison at a 6'3 rating. Not that we need him. A couple of defensive tackles as well, but we're pretty much set as far as that position is concerned. Running back, Chandler Batch. Absolutely not. Vincent Bean. Has decent speed, listed as a deep threat, but still probably nothing too special. Dixon Massey out of South Carolina, that's not going to happen. Alan Wims, 6'4", and you kind of waste that talent, unfortunately. Brutal. What about Randall Howard? Absolutely not. I'm trying to go off of combine grades and then just checking from there. Hale. Decent speed and agility at 24. Let's take him. He is a 64 overall. And the worst player we have drafted, I do believe, throughout the history of this series. Granted, it is the 7th round. It doesn't really matter. But what a time. As I aim to prove, like, hey, things are still looking up for us. What a time to have the worst draft of this series. What a time. We do get Ramsey, which is nice, but from there, that was it. It just fell apart for us. The big question is, let's take a look at how everyone else was shaping up. So from there, Barry Hess was considered, but not really. I want to take a look at the offensive lineman, James Vance, who's an 80, but normal development. So I think we did relatively well there with Ramsey. And at least this way too, you guys can see who went where. But I'm mainly looking at the offensive line. Cole Cameron, 79 quick development. And Jaden Mack finished 2nd in voting. 21-81 quick development. 21-81 quick development. He was a little bit better than Ramsey. Couldn't really have gone wrong with either of the two, but technically he was a little bit better. He finished 2nd in voting on this particular poll. In the 2nd round is where it gets interesting. Brady Rasmussen, thankfully isn't that good. Nicholas Heck, thankfully isn't that good. Marcel Hill, I don't think I was ever considering. Joseph Lytle, not that great. Okay, what about Glears? Okay, so far we're looking all right, and that a lot of other players selected haven't been that good. Okay, I think we've survived this. You can see the talent from the 2nd round onward. It was our worst draft yet, and it still might be because of a terrible decision. We'll check here with Culliver. But overall, I think it was just a bad draft. It was. I'm feeling a little bit better. We'll see how good Steeples is, though. He would have been the pick. Franklin Bond, I don't remember if he was a power back. If Steeples is bad, we at least dodged a bullet. And he is. So thankfully, I don't really have to beat myself up that much Although Sayers, I mean, he's a running back, not that we need it. I don't really have to beat myself up that much because it just looks like a really bad draft, or at least a really average draft after the first round. I mean, Everett would have been okay, but based off of his grades, I don't think he was really in the running. And then there's Scheffler. Ah, fuck. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't know if I would have gone for Scheffler, but comparing Scheffler, I mean, and Everett, you had guys like Steeples and Culliver. It was hit or miss. That's really the only way to describe it. Of course, I took a linebacker who didn't end up being the best linebacker available. I'm still not saying it was a great draft, but it was certainly more difficult than not to end up with a strong player. So I have that excuse going for me at the very least. We are currently a 77 rated team. That number will probably drop once I fill out the roster with depth players, which I will do right now, and we'll get the first couple of games out of the way. I'll talk to you in a minute. Thankfully, we still have a 77 overall team, 81 offense, 79 defense. We are still going to be the best version of the Cardinals that we have been throughout the course of this series. The progression might not be too crazy, but we are improving, which is all you can really ask for. I do want to see how we do in the preseason, see if we pick up any injuries or anything before I show you the team. And of course, I had to jinx it. Don't be major. It's Hassan Hale, who is a depth signing, a free agent depth signing. So that's not all that important. Can we get through 2 more weeks without any major controversy? We are going to have a successful preseason, a winning record. We go 3-1. Not bad. We start off our year against the 49ers at home. But again, this is the squad. So we have Ofenheusle at left tackle. In the past few years, I've had our better players. Like I've tried playing players on the outside, in the middle. I've went with the strong front three of Ramsey, Ramirez, and Schuleter. Landeta is in over Kropog, so the rookie will be starting there, and Ofenheusle is good to go. Tight end, of course, is going to be Marshall. Top wideout, still Wilson and Mack with Farrell as the 3 spot. Hughes is going to get a little bit more time, or Farrell in the 3 spot, I should say. Hughes is still going to get a little bit more time this year. Reynaud, of course, hasn't really developed or improved, so we're going to have Hughes there. McCormick, of course, still our quarterback. And when it comes to the defense, I mean, it's not that bad. If we start in the secondary with Griffith, Meyer, Cole, and Ross, that's not bad. B- at the very lowest with Ross. Linebacker core with King, Klemm, and Larson, who will be starting as a rookie, still isn't that bad. And the defensive line obviously needs a little bit of work, but it's workable. Gilmore, Christie, Seamster, and Demetrios Brooks. I don't hate the team, and for the record, I did get rid of that extra fullback and that punter that we just drafted because obviously they weren't worth keeping. I don't hate this roster. There's something to work with here. Now, whether or not we're going to have any luck in the sim, that's a whole different story. I think it would be fairly interesting to, go week by week, playing games, jumping into it. Like, that'd be a fun thing to do. But obviously the name of this series is trying to see if we can build a winner according to the AI sim logic, as opposed to, hey, can I play the game and win the Super Bowl? So, there's a little bit of a difference here. But there's a little bit of optimism, which is weird, because we started off this episode with a little bit of optimism, then the draft went kind of poorly, which in fairness, it went poorly for most teams, but still, it was a weak draft, and we couldn't really make the most of it. But the season starts, and here I am again with a little bit of optimism. Will that last, is the question. Let's find out. The opening quarter of this season. Can we defend home field? We start off with a touchdown. They respond with a field goal of their own. It's 7-3 at the end of the opening 15 minutes. Let's go to halftime. We respond with a field goal of our own. They respond with a touchdown in kind. Another 3 points for the Cards. And a late field goal, 16-10 at halftime. Grant Frome is getting a lot of work early as San Francisco scores quickly. It's 18-17, now 25-17. A shootout between these two clubs where we have had some relatively close scores between us in the past. We get a field goal to start off the fourth quarter, 28-17 with 10.5 minutes to go. We'll see what the Niners can do. They march right downfield and miss a 22-yard field goal. We start on the 12. massive mistake as we march all the way downfield and take advantage of a missed 22-yarder, 7-yard touchdown pass to Jamius Mack. 35-17 is your final score. We win the opening game. We win the opening game of the season. And hell, I'll take it. I will take it. That is a damn fine way to start the year. I'm sorry. I am just in shock that they missed a 22-yarder and then we marched all the way downfield and we end up getting the win. Joey McCormick didn't have a great game. I mean, he did. The 2 interceptions kind of take away from it, but 30 of 47, 370 yards, which I believe is a career high, with 2 touchdown passes and 2 picks. Rushing-wise, Jamon Hughes, 23 carries, but he does get to 100 yards. He ends up having a pretty strong day. Reynaud, though, ended up getting the touchdown. Receiving-wise, Wilson, with 11 receptions, led the way, 129 yards as well, but touchdown passes to Mack and Marcus Farrell. Blocking-wise, Ofenheusle was a turnstile in his first game at left tackle. Landeta also allowed a sack, so it's obvious we still need to find and carve out this offensive line. We still need help there. I don't know if it matters who we put there, though, to be honest. I'll show you the options that we have. Defensively, Meyer led the way. He and Brooks with 7 tackles apiece. Brooks with 3 tackles for a loss. We ended up with 2 sacks that game, but quite a few tackles for loss is pretty nice. And then Grant, 4 of 4 kicking-wise. Good stuff. A win in the books for your Arizona Cardinals to start off this season. I will again show you the options that we have to play at tackle, just because, of course, no matter who we've put there, they've always done their best imitation of a turnstile, and it hasn't worked out all that well for us. But this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. And as far as the other options go. So again, right now, the best rated are, of course, Ramsey, Schuleter, and Ramirez. They're the best rated at tackle, guard, or center. It doesn't matter. But aside from Ofenheusle, we have Quinn Kropog, who has struggled traditionally. We have CJ Landeta, who's the starting right tackle. And then it drops off with Anderson and Rashawn Price. Now, Kropog has also struggled. So you can make the argument over whether or not he or Ofenheusle are the better person to start. Ofenheusle has the advantage of being a scheme fit, though. That might help him improve throughout the season. It's only one game. I don't want to overreact to it, but I do know that our offensive line is going to struggle for that reason. Let's sim our second game of the season as well. We travel to Atlanta. They have a 4 overall point advantage, but fingers crossed that this works out. Fingers crossed this works out for us. I'm not wanting to overhype it too much, right? But we did get off to a pretty decent start. I mean, McCormick threw for 370 yards. Sam Darnold is the starting quarterback of the Falcons at this point. But knock on wood, we're healthy. We're still performing well. I mean, we've only played 1 game, but hey, I'm trying to instill some confidence in the team. That's all. You can't fault me for that. I want these guys to be confident. Play to your ability. I know a 77 overall team can make the playoffs. I've seen it. I mean, we saw the Bills. Well, the Bills, it took us a while to make the playoffs with the Bills, but you get the point. You get the point. Let's see what happens. Week 2. Let's sim through the first quarter. And we get the opening score of the game, 7-0. Atlanta responds with a field goal. We have the 4-point lead. As we begin the second, make it 14-3, now 14-10. And will there be another score before half? There will not be. I feel like Atlanta was going for it and failed. So 14-10 at the half, 2 weeks in a row to start the season where we go into halftime with a lead. Unfortunately, though, Atlanta responds. It's now 17-all. And the Falcons on the 17 here threatening to score. And they do, 24-17 in favor of the Falcons. We have plenty of time to get back into this one. And we do immediately on the very next drive, 24-all with 9.5 minutes left. The Falcons march down and are forced to punt, but they pin us to the 1. Matt Bosher, you son of a bitch. Can we get anything going here? I accidentally hit back. That's not what I wanted to do. Nope, don't want to call a timeout either. Good thing that didn't go through. Good thing that didn't. Can we get anything going on this drive? The answer is no. We're forced to punt. They got a safety. Never mind. Never mind. They did get a safety out of that. 26-24, and the pressure's really on our defense here. And unfortunately, they can't hold. 101 left. 29-24. That safety killed us. Matt Bosher with an incredible punt. And we'll see if we can get anything going here on this drive. It's not looking likely. 3rd and 10, and it's a pick 6, and this game is over. Matt Bosher, pretty much, I don't want to say single-handedly, but my God, I think they got a second safety at the end there. Matt Bosher with just the perfect punt to set that up. And unfortunately, we fall in week 2. We were looking pretty good, but couldn't close that game out. McCormick, 19 of 38, 270 yards, 3 touchdown passes, but an interception as well. The running game never took off. Unfortunately, only 21 attempts. Receiving-wise, Wilson led the way with 6 receptions, 82 yards, though, for Jamon Hughes, the running back. It was 2 touchdowns for Wilson, 1 for Hughes. Blocking-wise, Hughes allowed a couple, and Ramsey, the rookie, ends up allowing a few. Defensively, Griffith and Ross led the way, the safeties. 2 sacks in that game, 1 for the injured Demetrios Brooks and 1 for Darby Klemm. We'll see how long Brooks is out for, but it's an interesting way to start the new season. A big win. We weren't completely out of it in the 4th quarter. Unfortunately, we fell just short against Atlanta, but this might be our first year of being able to maybe make a push for the playoffs. That's the hope, at least. Griffith, buddy, let's make you better in zone for the scheme fit. He is now a true scheme fit at an 84 overall, which is perfect. Star development for the 26-year-old. And we will see how long Brooks is out for. Please don't be major. Wow, it's not Brooks that got hurt. It was Antoine McIntosh out for 9 weeks. Our depth safety. That's a rough injury, but it's one that we can overcome more than likely. As far as the re-signings are concerned, it's Cole and Christie, both of whom we'll obviously bring back. We have all the cap space in the world. Cole's only looking for a 1-year deal at 29 years old. We'll still try to sign him up, and he's going to want a little bit more money, which is not surprising. George Christie looking for a 4-year deal, and he will be back. Good. So he might not be a Pro Bowler, but still, he is our best option. We're playing the 1-0-1 Colts, but we will get to that and the majority of the rest of the season in the next episode. We're going to handle it the same way. As long as we're winning and staying competitive, we'll stick with it. But if we start losing games, we'll sim through the end of the year and call it quits at that point. But the Cardinals, 77 overall, the best they've ever been. Will that translate to on-field success? We'll find out in the next one. Until then, have a good one, and I'll see you later.